I think it's fair. I think the governor has made some very strong points. I think it's required for an industry to get organized and to ensure that the public can trust banking system and ensure, that people don't lose their money. So I think it's fair comment, and I think we welcome those kind of interventions coming in now.
All right. Of course, Saib, you've just taken over at First Community Bank, and we are in an era where Islamic banking just has a 2% penetration really in the Kenyan market. Is this figure worrying for you?
No, I actually don't think so. I think it's, if you looked at the banking sector per se, Islamic banking is fairly new compared to, if I would call the other banking system a conventional banking system.
Yes.
And I think if you looked at many of the other banks in the country, it has been taking some time to gather some momentum. So we're not too worried. I think our view is from First Community Bank, we will get the first movers in, and those that really want to come in will come into the organization and bank with us. Mm-hmm. And then obviously we would look at, and that's what we're focusing on, because we believe that's the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And we then think that this kind of model is for everyone. And hopefully, as we get momentum, there'll be scale, and we can scale up as well.
All right. Let me bring you in, Jaffa. You are in charge of Shariah. A lot of people who have an interest in perhaps having an account in an Islamic bank might not understand the other fundamentals that guide Islamic banking. Perhaps just give us a common man's explanation of what is Sharia law and what is Sharia compliant banking really.
First, thank you very much for this opportunity. Secondly is that maybe just to point out, as we speak at the moment, we have quite a number of clients who are not Muslims. There are non-Muslims who've joined and they're banking with us, and the number is growing. In addition to that is that the system itself, it's not meant to cater for a specific group of people.
Mm-hmm. That's the perception.
That's the perception outside. Mm-hmm. But the system is meant to operate under a different parameter than what is being seen in the market at the moment. So it's not quite something out of extraordinary, but it's a little bit realignment of what is there mm-hmm. to what it is from an Islamic point of view. Mm-hmm. The word, or when you say Islamic bank, some people will tend to put that into relationship with specific religion.
Yeah.
It's true that it has that relationship, but it is not true that it's specifically for them. These are banks that are guided by Islamic commercial law processes and procedures. And this is because the repugnant aspect of interest in the Islamic faith and the ability or the importance of financial development. Mm-hmm. So if you bring interest and somebody wants to develop, and he's a Muslim or whoever he is, you bring a problem. Mm-hmm. So developing inclusion by removing interest mm-hmm. is how now you entrench the banking into the system.
All right. Interesting explanation there. And looking at Islamic banking, we are yet to, many say we are still scratching the surface as a bank. You've talked about the low-hanging fruits. Of course, moving forward, what should you expect from the bank in terms of expansion and roping in new customers?
I think, as FCB, our strategy is actually to bank for, like what Jafar has just said. So we definitely have an expansion plan. We currently have about 18 branches. For a young organization, I think that's very good going. I think in the years coming, there's going to be much more. We have an expansionary plan, and I think we'll be covering much more areas of the country. So those will be, I think, over a period of time. And FCB is only 8 years old, and it already has over 100,000 customers, and we're growing every day. So I think over time we're probably going to be more into a digital kind of banking, in the sense that we were looking more at the IT sector, more the ICT to help us through. And And we're not saying we're not going to put out branches. We definitely will do that and have some representation. But I think more and more you'll find a much smarter bank coming through.
Speaking about expansion, of course, Treasury has plans to, it has been having plans to do a sukuk bond. And many from the field of Islamic finance are saying this should have kicked off like yesterday. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. It's not yesterday, it should have happened many, many years ago. I think, those kind of instruments has been wanting in Kenya. And I think it will help the industry tremendously and give it some liquidity. And hopefully we can, the Islamic banks can then use that kind of source as well to either invest in or try and get some liquidity for themselves. So most definitely, we're definitely looking at it. And I think, as a bank, we've been talking for quite a while. And I'm glad that now the regulators, the kind of capital markets are seeing the opportunity as what the banks have been seeing, for the last 8-10 years in Islamic banking.
Of course, you've worked in South Africa for many years. Looking at the global Islamic financial system, we're talking about $2.1 trillion. That's the worth. And if you come closer home to East Africa, we're not as big as outside EAC. Perhaps moving forward as a region, what are some of the key areas that need actually to be worked on?
I think from a regional perspective, if you're looking at East Africa, whether it's Uganda and Tanzania, Kenya, definitely I think what's happening now, you would find in some areas, some regulations are coming through, and I think Kenya, we're probably having some people getting together to form these regulatory environment to sort of regulate the kind of industry and put some frameworks around that. So definitely regulations will be important. And how you supervise these banks, and I think central banks are now looking at that, and the whole kind of financial markets, financial industry. The other key thing would be human resources. I think we definitely need to build that capacity within the countries that we're working in. It's not so different from conventional banks, but conceptually there are issues that we need to look at. And I think while we have resources, and I'm happy to say that in some of the universities they're now offering some courses on Islamic finance and at master's level. So I think building on those things will definitely help the organization.
All right. Jafar, your closing thoughts, outlook for the Islamic financial?
Well, the outlook is very positive, and maybe if you can remember is that Uganda recently actually did an amendment to its bill, that is the financial institution bill, to incorporate Islamic Bank as a model from top to bottom. You have Tanzania, which is working very hard on that. Kenya, it's on the move, like what you've mentioned. So the prospect is actually growing, and being a hub, we expect it to grow further.
Many thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Interesting discussion there on Islamic banking. We were speaking to Fazal Saib, who is the CEO of First Community Bank, as well as Jafar Rahman, who is the Shariah manager, just giving us the latest insights regarding Islamic banking. Of course, it's a lengthy discussion that cannot be addressed in a single sitting. And gentlemen, we hope to invite you sometime soon.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Let's take a quick recap of our Twitter poll question, where we were asking you that, do you think Islamic financial institutions run a sound model of banking? Do you think Islamic financial institutions run a sound model of banking? You can tweet us using our Twitter handles at KT News or my Twitter handle at Agina Abi. And of course, make sure you use the hashtag. Our hashtag today is Business Today. Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we still have more discussions here on KTN Business, as well as some other stories across the globe.
This is KTN News.